Hockey town, going down to hockey town, whoa, whoa. Hockey town, take me down to hockey town, yeah, yeah.
Hello, hockey fans. The Minnesota Hockey Connection is on the air. We're on the air for the next half hour. I'm Kenny Gallagher, along with Jerry Burrow. And we're going to cover hockey in Minnesota from high school to the pros and everything in between. But right now it's high school hockey playoff season. And there was just some very exciting outcomes. Probably the one that stood out the most, Jerry, was that 0-0 game going into overtime, Stillwater and Hill Murray. And Stillwater won the game on a flash and dash goal. I don't remember the player's name.
He did a 360.
Yeah.
And came in on the goalie then. And then the D fell to the ground. And he scored, and he went over to the Stillwater student section and jumped up on the glass and the boards.
And a lot of other players, followed along. And you can go to our Facebook page and find that post there. But Stillwater, a huge win over Hill Murray in boys. Well, that was the section championship game. And then closer to home, we had Hermantown, and no surprise there. They took out Hibbing, and they'll advance to hopefully capture their first. Would this be their first ever? Had they ever won back in the day, 60s, 70s at Hermantown?
Who's that now?
Hermantown.
Did they ever win?
Yeah.
They won about...
The championship.
Yeah, they won once.
They
about
did
8
win.
years ago.
About 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So they're hoping to capture another championship. Unfortunately, 5 trips, and they haven't done it. 5 consecutive trips.
I think it's 6.
Is it? Will this be 6? This will be
6 already.
Okay.
6, they've
so this will be
been
their
second
7th.
place.
All right. Well, Hermantown's trying to get down there and win it all, and we best luck to them. Duluth East and Grand Rapids. Wow. Duluth East jumps out to a 5-3 lead late in the third period, and I thought, well, here we go. The East boys are going to do it again.
Right.
And it wasn't to be. Grand Rapids tied that game, and with 6 seconds, got a game-winning goal. And head coach Trent Klatt, who we may be talking to here, and the boys from Grand Rapids going to state.
Yeah, it was an amazing game, back and forth, and Amsoil looked like a full house or close to it. You know, there might have been single seats here and there.
Oh, yeah.
But it was crowded, and excitement from when they dropped the puck all the way through that game, because the scoring was going back and forth, and there's no love lost on these two teams, and it just made it a great game.
I watched most of the game on TV. Best third period of a high school hockey game in a long time.
Right. And I bet the TV ratings were way up on this one. I mean, another great classic section finals in 7AA.
That game, if I recall, was on FSN Plus.
It was?
Yeah.
How did it get on there?
Pretty sure that's where I found it.
Why? I thought it was on WDIO. Was it on? I thought ABC puts it on.
Yeah, it was on. You're right. What did I find on FSN? Oh, it was the Bulldog game. I'm thinking. The Bulldogs were there. You're right.
Okay.
Yep, WDIO. Yep.
Okay, I'm going to try to call Trent, so let's keep on talking about, hey, high school hockey state tournament starting, and
I got my little cheater here. On the 8th of March, Kearns and Company puts on their high school all-star hockey game. Amsoil Arena, March 8th. All-star hockey, the skills competition, 6 o'clock, game 7:05. The rosters are set. And from Duluth East, Alex Spencer, Shay Donovan,
let me put
Luke
you on
Dahl,
this, Jerry. Let me put you on
Ash
speakerphone.
Altman, and Ryan Peterson. And we'll talk more about that as we go along here. But we're going to talk to Trent Klatt, head coach of the Grand Rapids Thunderhawks. Trent, you played 782 games in the NHL. Did you ever have one as exciting as this high school game the other night?
Well, I played in a few of them, but I'll tell you what, that was right up there with some of the best games I ever played in the NHL, that's for sure.
Well, East had a lead 5-3 late in the game, but the boys listened to you, and they wanted it more than East. They outwilled East, and by golly, they got the job done and won the game, and you're going to state.
Yeah, you know what? It was a great game on Thursday night. You got to give a lot of credit to Duluth East because I had watched them play it a couple times throughout the course of the year, and of course we had played them early in January. And I got to tell you, that game Thursday night was the best team we've played against all year long.
Some people said it was the best.
I don't know where that team came from, but they were that good. So they really gave us issues that we had a hard time dealing with.
Some people said it was the best third period of hockey they've ever seen.
Could very well be. It was just fantastic. I mean, goals scored both directions, high tempo, and of course, when you have the fact that when one team loses, the season's over, it just adds to the pressure and all that. So we're just very fortunate to have scored last.
Trent, you know who you're going to be playing now in the state tournament, another northern team, Bemidji, and you played them in the beginning of the year. What do you think Bemidji will come back this time, the second game that you're playing them?
Well, you know, they're a very, very good hockey team. They've got a very good record. They've had some very big games they've won this year. They're a quality hockey team. It's going to be a great game on Thursday night, there's no doubt. They're a team that's built from the goaltender out. They're very good, very solid defensively. But let's not let that fool anybody. They got some players that can score. They've got some guys that can make some plays. They're a well-rounded hockey team that we're going to have to be on our toes for and be ready for, because if we're not, certainly this time of year, other teams can put you away in a heartbeat.
So have the kids come down now so you can practice and get ready for state?
Yeah. We're on the ice at 3:30 today, and we're going to have 3 solid days before we go Thursday night. Hopefully we're ready.
When do you travel down to the Twin Cities?
We're having a send-off at the school Wednesday mornings. We're going to have a quick practice here at our home rink before we go, and then we're going to head down. So we'll be on the way by 11 o'clock or so Wednesday morning.
Do you stress anything different at this time of the year, Trent? Preparation, is it more intense than it is during the regular season? Does anything really change?
Well, it's certainly more intense this time of year, but I preached right from day one how we're supposed to attack each day, so that when we got to this stage and this time of the season, we wouldn't have to change anything. It's habits now. So right from day one, I raised the energy level, I raised the awareness level, I held them accountable from the get-go. And to be quite honest with you, for the last 3-4 weeks, I haven't had a coach very much. These guys are running their own team. They're hungry. They know what's expected of them. They know what's expected of each other. And we have a very healthy atmosphere in our locker room right now. And I'm very excited to go on for the ride and follow these guys.
At the beginning of the season, you played all 3 goalies, but now it seems like you found your starter. How did that work out?
Well, we were in a situation where I'm not sure I'll ever be in again as a high school coach, but we had three goalies, one being a senior and 2 being sophomores coming in, and it took us probably 13, 14, 15 games to figure out what we had. And it was actually the Duluth East game that we played on January 7th, I think it was, where we made our decision who we were going to go with. We've succeeded quite well since that point. So I'm not sure how many high school teams and coaches have to deal with 3 goalies, but it hasn't been the healthiest situation all year, that's for sure.
Well, most teams don't have 3 goalies to even try, so maybe you were pretty lucky in that part. But another thing is you changed your lines a lot over the season, but it seems like you got it together now where these kids are meshing pretty good.
Yeah, the thing of it is you got to figure out what you got. And as a first-year coach, I didn't really know. I had some sophomores that were great players that were coming in that I didn't know at all. I had a little bit of a relationship with some of the older players that I'd been around a little bit the prior season. And it just takes a while to figure out exactly what you got, how they're going to work together, who works well with who. And, these kids they're pretty much all centers growing up. And now we had some playing wing, and I even had Gavin Haynes playing defense for a while. So, it takes a while to figure out what you got, and then you hope you can put the puzzle together and have the guys gel at the right time. And fortunately for us right now, I think we're doing that.
Last year, you spoke at the Class AA banquet, and one of your messages was stay in high school and have fun. But you got a player that came back from the USHL, Mitchell Matson, and how important was that?
Oh, it's huge for us to have him. I mean, you take him out of our lineup, we're a much different team. So it was obviously as a team, it was great to have him come back. Personally, for him, it's the argument that I make when I speak. I mean, there's no reason why he has to feel pulled to go play at another level. I mean, he's a great player, don't get me wrong, and he can go as far as he wants. But we've had, 15, 16, 17 high-quality games, high intensity all year long, and he's in a position to be successful. So those USHL games are fine. There's nothing wrong with them, but they weren't like Thursday night, I can tell you that.
Trent Klatt joins us, head coach, Grand Rapids Thunderhawks. Of course, you played your high school hockey at Osseo. You played in the NHL. You played in the Stanley Cup. But being in the state high school tournament has got to be a thrill. And I know that you don't want to look too far ahead, but if Grand Rapids can make it to the championship game, I can't imagine there'd be a greater thrill for not just the players, but for the coaching staff.
Oh, I'll be so excited for the kids if we can pull that off. I'll be just ecstatic. And you know what? Honestly, it's one of those things that every kid in Minnesota looks forward to playing in. I mean, it's like the Stanley Cup for high school kids because only a small percentage of kids move beyond high school anyway. So, it chills me that I never got to play the state championship or a state tournament for that matter. But that's what makes it so special. And certainly as a coach, it will be great. I'm looking forward to it. And to be honest with you, I'm not sure who's more excited, me or the kid.
Absolutely. Well, that's great. Coach Trent Klatt, you played in the Stanley Cup with the Philadelphia Flyers and got swept by the Detroit Red Wings. Boy, that was one of the fastest Stanley Cup finals I ever watched.
Yeah, unfortunately, it was but the whole experience there, playing at that time of year in that environment with everything on the line was such an experience for me. I remember, so I actually stayed on the ice because I wanted to see the Stanley Cup. Of course, I never got to touch it, but what a neat experience it was. But unfortunately for me, it was way too fast. Then on the wrong end.
Well, I've been meaning to ask you this. 1989 entry draft. By the way, it was held at Bloomington's Met Center. You were picked in the 4th round, 82nd overall. The number 1 pick, Matt Sundin of the Quebec Nordiques. You were drafted by the Washington Capitals but didn't play for them. Is that correct?
No, I got traded 2 years later, along with Steve Maltese, to the Minnesota North Stars for Sean Chambers that year. So I never did play for the Capitals. Nope.
Well, Trent Klatt, you're certainly on the verge of some big things here with Grand Rapids, and certainly best of luck.
Yeah, and Trent, one more thing is, do you still scout for the New York Islanders?
Yeah, I still scout for the New York Islanders. I do. I was the head amateur scout for 5 years. This year, I'm a part-time guy that just does area. So I watch high school kids. I watch the USHL. So I'm a much smaller role, but allows me to be home. And when I'm home, it allows me to be around these kids. So I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, they must have listened to you because you got some nice Minnesota kids on that team.
Well, Minnesota is a unique system, and there are kids that play in the NHL. You have to, I think, be very familiar with high school and how it works, and you find those right guys. There certainly are players that will play in the NHL, no doubt.
Trent Klatt, head coach of the Grand Rapids Thunderhawks, on his way to state, bringing the boys down. Best of luck, Trent. Bring home a trophy.
Good luck, Trent.
We'll do the best we can. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's awesome. I got to tell you, this team is put together with a great group of kids. But not only that, when you've got a guy that played in the NHL as your head coach, I think you tend to pay attention to what he says.
Right. Makes a difference. That's kind of funny. Look at Phil Halsley. He was a coach for 7-8 years. Wes Walls has been doing it. Now Mark Parrish. But they're having a hard time.
Yeah,
so it's not the easiest job in the world to get kids to listen and mesh together and get the chemistry. And
Well, 1989 draft pick of the Washington Caps, 4th round, Trent Klatt. And number 1 overall, Matt Sundin, Quebec Nordiques. And number 53 in that 89 draft, Nicholas Lidstrom, Detroit Red Wings. And Trent went 82nd overall. And now he's got Grand Rapids on the verge of a championship. Jerry, Grand Rapids, Class AA. Can they do this? Can they pull this thing off?
Yes, they can. I'll tell you what, any one of these 8 teams can pull it off. But Grand Rapids plays at 8 o'clock Thursday night. So the last game of the first day of the Class AA. And, boy, they can get that first one in.
Who do they play?
They play Bemidji. They got the two northern teams together. So
wow, and Bemidji is...
One will be kicked out right away. A lot of people don't like that when two northern teams in the state tournament and one gets kicked out. But the way I look at it, that means one will be in the semis. So one has a chance to go all the way.
You know, the field has really changed this year. I'm still a little stunned that Farmington took out Lakeville North. Lakeville North was a good team.
Well, look at
least when they played here in that outdoor game against East, they won the game. They were the better team.
2 of the top teams in the state lost in the semis. Blaine with the best player in the state, I think, Riley Tufte, and then Benil.
Well,
didn't lose one game all year.
Let's go over the top seeds in both Class AA and A. Let's start with AA because if you recall, it wasn't that long ago, 2-3 years ago, where the top 4 seeds were out in the first round.
Listen to this. I've never seen a top seed. Eden Prairie's the top seed in Class AA, but listen to their record. 19-7-2. 7 losses.
Wow.
7 losses and be the number 1 seed. Number 2, Stillwater, 27-1-1. But they're going by the schedule.
Sure.
Stillwater's schedule was a lot weaker, their conference. Number 3, which this team, I think this team can go all the way, Wayzata, 19-8-1. And then you got the 2 northern teams, Grand Rapids, 21-6-1, and Bemidji, 23-2-2. So you got 2 very good teams here.
Well, let's look. Okay, so we just mentioned the top. I thought they just did the top 4 seeds, but they do the
5.
Top, oh, they do the top 5.
They get the 4 or 5.
Okay, of the top 5 seeds, where do you see an upset with Farmington, Burnsville, and Anoka as the spoilers?
I see the upset will be Farmington over Stillwater. Stillwater's only lost 1 game. Farmington, their schedule wasn't that strong, but they lost 8 games during the year. But they beat North 3 times.
Yeah, and Burnsville, my goodness.
They're coming on. They got 10 losses.
Who did they beat? They beat in the section, they beat...
Burnsville beat St. Thomas in the finals, 7-1.
Jeez.
7-1, yeah. That was a surprise.
When was the last time we heard Burnsville in the state tournament? When was the last time Burnsville was here?
Boy, many years, because they were always in the same section as Edina, and Edina's been coming for years. Even when they had good teams.
My goodness.
Yeah. So that's going to be a fun section, all public schools.
Oh, my. Okay, so Class AA, the seeds are set, and the showdown begins Thursday, March 3rd.
Yep, 11 o'clock, Stillwater and Farmington starts off, and then 1 o'clock, Burnsville, Wayzata. 6 o'clock at night, Anoka, Eden Prairie with the number 1 seed there. And then the 2 northern teams at 8 o'clock, Bemidji, Grand Rapids. Then we go over to Class A. Our northern team, Hermantown, has Litchfield. I think in the Class A that first day, there's 3 games there that could be running time. It's possible.
Now, is Litchfield the team that took out my Laverne
Yes,
team?
they did.
Go Hermantown.
It's like a 5 different city team, you know. Number 2, Breck plays Mankato West, the opening game at 11 o'clock on Wednesday. And then Princeton plays Thief River Falls. And Thief River Falls is the number 3 seeded. And then 4 and 5 might be the best game of the opening day for sure, I think. St. Cloud Cathedral plays number 4, St. Paul Academy.
Yeah, not to be confused with St. Thomas Academy, but is this team... are they legit? Obviously they're in the tournament.
St. Paul, yes, they are.
My goodness.
Yeah, and I tell you what, Hermantown, if they win and St. Paul wins, Hermantown better not look ahead and thinking they might be playing Breck or something like that in finals or something, because I tell you what, St. Paul Academy could pull an upset.
All right, Jerry Burrow is the high school hockey expert in the state. Nobody sees more high school hockey games than Jerry Burrow. Jerry, do you want to give us your best outcome in Class A-AA championship matchup and winners?
I say the matchups are going to be Hermantown and Bruck in Class A, and I think Hermantown will do it this year.
Awesome. I hope your prediction comes true.
Okay, in Class AA, I think it's going to be Eden Prairie and Wayzata. And I think I'm going with Eden Prairie.
Oh, not the Trojans?
Nope.
Oh, man.
I started
was
with
hoping.
I started with Eden Prairie. My only problem with Eden Prairie is their goaltending has been very weak. They've been only a .865 in that area goaltending percentage saves.
All right.
So that's my two teams.
Okay. Well, it's the best time of the year for high school hockey. High school hockey starts Wednesday, and it will wrap up with the championships on Saturday at XL Energy Center. We'll be back here next Monday to give all the details, all the wrap-up on the outcomes of the games, and best of luck to all the players and coaches. And can't wait.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, we've got just a little bit of time here. Again, we talked about the, after the high school hockey, then Kearns and Company puts on the St. Luke's Orthopedic and Sports Medicine All-Star Game, March 8th, Amsoil Arena, and game time 7:05, March 8th, and we got the roster. And,
wow.
Yeah, Duluth East has Shea Donovan, Luke Dow,
Yeah.
Ash Altman, and Ryan Peterson.
And Alex Spencer.
Head coach for the Duluth team, Kevin Smalley.
There you
From
go.
Duluth Denfeld, River Alander, Adam Shikes, and
Wow, who's the other goalie?
the other goalie is
it's
Luke
Hermantown.
Olson
Oh, okay.
of Hermantown.
Yeah.
And also from Duluth Marshall, Lane Krenzen,
Nice player.
Peter Lenz. Hermantown's going to send Ryan Sandlin, Luke Olson, Eric Gotts, or is it Goats?
I think it's Goats.
I think it is.
That's Bob Janander's nephew.
Hermantown's
grandkid.
gonna, yeah, and then we've got, Chloe Haskell Carlton, Dylan Johnson, Cole Litzy, and Jack Coleman. And I got to believe he's related to Carson.
Yes, that's his
Okay.
brother.
All right. Shane Tesloff from Superior is going to play in that boys All-Star game. And Tanner Ketela of the North Shore team will come down and be on that Duluth roster. And then the Iron Range team is going to be coached by George McDonald of International Falls. And the Grand Rapids, Jonah Bischoff, Micah Miller, Jason Keene, Cohen, Brendan Mark, and Alex Adams.
Yeah, nice.
Here's Grand Rapids in the state tournament, beat Duluth East 6-5 in a thrilling game at Amsoil Arena. Did you expect? Are you surprised at Grand Rapids at this spot now?
I'm not surprised. I thought it was going to be a close game all the way. I thought it was coming down to the end. I thought it would be a typical overtime, like that kind of game, which has been many years now. A lot of games turn in that final into overtime games, and just great hockey. I mean, that's no better hockey than a section final up here in Duluth.
There was a time back in the 70s where Grand Rapids, they were known as the Indians, and they made regular trips to the state. And, the name of who's the names from those teams that the familiar names? Oh gosh, I can't think of it right off the top of my head. But
Rothstein.
Yeah, Rothstein. There you go. Thank you.
Rothstein and Lucia played on Rothstein.
Yeah. And so it's great that Grand Rapids is back in the tournament. Best of luck to the Thunderhawks. Thank you to Trent Klatt for joining us here for a segment of this program. And we look forward to some great high school hockey. And now we can shift to some Wild hockey. The Wild finally got a home or a home win this year.
After first one this year.
They won the game against Chicago outside, but they had not won at XL.
Right.
Finally, they beat Florida 3-1 Sunday night and get the monkey out there.
And then big game Tuesday night, and with Colorado.
Yeah,
they're the two that's going to fight for this last spot, wild card spot for the playoffs. So
a lot of hockey to play yet, but you're right. The final playoff spot is on the
line.
line.
They're under 20
Tuesday
games
night
now for the regular season.
Wow, the Wild. You know, they're playing well. The trade deadline is today. I can't imagine the Wild are going to make a deal. We talked about this earlier. The Wild, when it comes to the draft, they've only got 5 draft picks. They pick in the first round, and then they pick in the 4th, 6th, and 7th. This team, they can't trade away draft picks. They got nothing to trade other than players.
And I think a lot of the young players are more relaxed now with the new coach and Mike Riley, and Justin Fontaine, and Zucker, and you just have to get them all healthy. That's the main thing, I think. But I think they're playing a lot better than they were with Yo was coaching. So we'll see if that does make the difference.
The Wild play hockey games this week. Tuesday, they'll play Colorado at XL. They'll travel to Toronto on Thursday, and Buffalo Saturday. That Buffalo game in Buffalo, noon start on FSN, and then Sunday they'll host St. Louis. Late start at XL, 7 o'clock on Sunday.
Well, UMD, they won a pair with the top team in the nation. St. Cloud State was 2nd or 3rd in the nation last week.
I got to tell you, Jer, I didn't get a chance to watch Friday's game, but I watched Saturday's game, and I was like, who are these guys?
Playing a lot better.
Bulldogs win 4-1 on Friday, 2-1 on Saturday. That 4-1 win, 50 shots in goal by St. Cloud. Casimir Kaskasua had to play at the top of his game, and he did.
Yeah. Then they come back and win it. Was it overtime game or just a regulation?
Yeah, a regulation game. Shots were 27-26 UMD.
Right.
UMD, nothing on the power play, but Dominic Toninato and Carson Coleman, the goal scorers. And I got to tell you, I was shocked that the Bulldogs were able to go down there and sweep.
Yep. And they got the big series with Miami. If they just win one of them games with Miami at home this weekend, they will be home for the playoffs.
If they just win one game.
Yes, they need 3 points.
Well, I hope they're not listening to this program. Don't pay any attention to what we say. Go to Amesville this weekend and sweep Ohio and keep this thing going.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. St. Scholastica's season has come to an end. Scholastica, very impressive. 2nd in the nation in Division III in power play percentage. And they scored 35 power play goals, more than any other D3 team.
Wow, that's amazing too.
Mark Wick will have that team retooled and back next year for another season of Saints hockey. But high school hockey rules this time of the year, Jer. Right. And thank you to Trent Klatt, head coach of the Grand Rapids team, for joining us on the broadcast. And we'll be back here next week to drop the puck. Yeah. In the meantime, go to our Facebook page, like us there, and look for us online, MinnesotaHockeyConnection.com. And thank you to the staff at PACT-TV for producing this show. And, Jer.
Well, good luck to all the teams in the state tournament. And I'm going to be down there. And, boy, it's going to be fun like every year. And I tell you what, we'll have a lot of information. And I think there's going to be some fun games this week.
Awesome. And with that, we'll be back here next week to drop the puck. We'll see you then.